From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up! Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
and this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant, proudly presented by Zaxby's. Indescribably good. Check out the great locations around Tallahassee, as well as Douglas, Georgia, Thomasville, Georgia, Marietta, Florida. But just know that even though the sensation is back and still around for a little bit longer, it might be actually gone here in the next few days. Kickin' chicken sandwich is still around. Cobb salad's still around. Chicken finger plate still around. What you waiting for? Also, if you're not a member of the website, which is warchant.com, use the promo code WARCHANT30. We'll give you 30 free days to try it out. And if you like it, cool. And if not, I don't know. Everyone's got character flaws, except for Corey Clark. He's here. What's up, Corey?
I'm good, buddy. How are you doing?
Oh, good. I feel like we're recording this at the bottom of the ocean right now. I'm going to try to overcome the weird sort of echo. No one cares about me playing a hurt, man. I mean, I'm not dealing with, real situations, real life, things of that nature. We've got real life questions from real life subscribers over on the warchant.com message board. That's called the Tribal Council. It's called Renegade Express. Corey, I really don't even want to beat around the bush. I think we should just jump right into it. Unless there's anything you want to talk about. Is everything okay in your world? You said you're okay, right?
Yeah, everything's good. Okay, relatively good, I guess. We should explain that I'm on my phone on a Zoom. Normally, we don't use Zoom for these. Having some computer issues, and it reminded me of was it Wednesday when I couldn't get into the Florida State Zoom for like the first half of Norvell?
I think so.
Well, it was because I was using Stephanie's computer because mine had stopped working, and we're getting that fixed. Should be fixed this weekend. So I was using her computer, and you guys were in. Norvell was talking, and I texted Derek from the FSU SID office, and I'm like, "Hey man, can you let me in?" And he's like, "I don't see you." And then he goes, "Wait, are you Eva's mom?" Because that's what Stephanie's Zoom sign-in is Eva's mom. So I'm like, "Yes, I am Eva's mom. Please let me in." So that it's good to know that they don't just let in anybody that they don't recognize the name. But yes, so the reason I missed the first half of Norvell is because Derek wasn't letting in somebody called Eva's mom into the Zoom call.
All right, well, we figured
that out. But now I show
out.
up as Corey Clark, right?
Yeah. We've got our video turned off. You had your video turned on. You're being a good sport, but I don't have my video turned on.
Yeah, you turn yours off, so I'm like, screw that. I'll be the egg guy. I'm not going to let you see me either.
We should see how this actually sounds. I seriously think we should probably do it like this more often. We should have the video on so that we can at least see each other when we're talking, so we know when to interrupt one another or read body language. But I like just doing this, in the nude as well too. So it can't have everything.
Good. Yeah, exactly.
Mad AMCZ starts off with a question that I read beforehand, and unfortunately I don't have the answer for it, but he's a man of the people. He's been around since September 13th, 2006. He's only posted 544 times, so do the math on that. He picks his spots. But he's been posting, I feel like, every show for the last who knows how long. Regardless, we move on. Wake up! I want to make...
I just did the math. It's about 40 posts a year.
Gosh, you're so good at that. Can you teach me mental math?
About 3.5, about a post a week, 3.5 posts a month, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing. There's somebody made a post. And this actually ties into it. He's asking us about tickets. Somebody posted a thread that they purchased tickets for the Samford game on StubHub, and how can they go about maybe getting a refund? And somebody kind of like sarcastically responded, "Oh yeah, good idea. Coming to the warchant.com customer service line to ask about StubHub. Why don't you ask StubHub?" And then another person came and replied, and they've been a member since 2005 or 6. And that reply, like the snippy reply, was from somebody I think that's been around maybe the last 5 or 6 years. But then this person who came off the top rope had been around for about 15 years and was like, this is why I am very reluctant, and many people are reluctant to post because of comments like this. And I was like, ooh, look at that. Shots fired. We embrace everybody, old, new, and whether or not we can answer a question or not. And proof is that I'm going to continue with this question. hopefully that person found the solution to their answer with the tickets, because I don't know. If you bought a ticket to the Stanford game, is it going to carry over to Jacksonville? I think they were hoping that would get them into the Georgia Tech game. I don't think it works that way.
No.
Nonetheless, here we go. I promise. I want to make the drive. This is Matt AMCZ, a.k.a. Adam in Naples. I want to make the drive from Naples over for the Miami game on September 26th. I can't find tickets anywhere online. I know there's limited capacity, like 13,000 fans or so. Actually, not a real change for Miami home games at all.
Yeah, the drum roll.
Any insight on how to get tickets?
No.
I don't know.
It'd be better off if somebody in the thread would answer it. They might have a better idea. You remember, you're talking to two people that don't typically buy tickets to any sporting events they go to, because we're really lucky.
Yeah.
And we have jobs that allow us to do that. So we're certainly not the best to ask that for a road game, especially. Number one, I would wait until it got a little closer, because you might have an issue if it does end up getting postponed or moved back or canceled. I would wait until, I don't know, September 26th at like noon, or September 25th, like 8 p.m. I think that's when you're safe. And then I think you're just going to have to go, you'll have to go on one of the secondary markets. I would have to imagine there's zero chance I would imagine you could get it through the University of Miami. Because I know they don't have fans for all their other games. There would actually be a bit of a wait list for the 13,000 tickets to that game.
I was going to say that's a good point. I just don't know how many sellouts there are going to be, even with limited capacity. I know there's people that are totally jazzed up to act like, well, I don't want to say act like, but people are really excited to go out and watch a football game in a stadium like old times. I don't know how much of that is shared. And I guess you can say, well, they're at 20% capacity. All you need is 20% of your fans.
Even if it's not shared, even if it's only half the fans, that's still more than enough to sell out to get 13,000 tickets taken.
My thing, though, is
I also think just it becomes a select group. Like they're going to be expensive, really expensive. The secondary market's going to bump them up, I think.
Yeah, I think a place like Tallahassee, say there are 70,000 people that show up for a game. How many of them are actually, I don't know, locals? Maybe more than I'm thinking. I don't know how many people are going to make the plan to come up for the Clemson game from Miami, knowing that it could move at any point. Are they going to make the hotel reservations, and are they going to all those sort of things that go into it? I just think that so many of these games that are going to be attended, it's going to be by folks that live locally or within a very, very close drive, like 30, 45 minutes. And frankly, Tallahassee does not have a metro area like that.
Specific to this question, I would guess 99% of the people that go to Miami home football games live in the vicinity. That's true. So that's not going to slow them down at all. And I think that will be a very, very hard ticket to get. Yeah. And you're going to have to pay probably an exorbitant amount of money on StubHub or Vivid Seats or something to get a seat. And that it's 1/5 the capacity. So that means the demand is going to be much higher than the supply.
I bet you could find a ticket.
That's a little finance teaching for everyone, a little education.
I bet
supply and demand, Aslan.
This is really terrible. You can't hear me ever, let alone now, it seems like.
No, I can hear you. I can hear you now. I'm talking over you.
I bet you'll be able to find a ticket to the Miami game for $65 on the secondary market before kickoff.
Yeah, okay. What do you want to bet on that? $65?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, we're going to bet at $65. Well, no, I don't agree. I think the cheapest will be $100. And I'm going to say, yeah, so we'll bet 65. We'll bet $65. What the bet is, if I win, you owe me the difference between $65 and whatever the lowest actual ticket price is.
Oh, okay.
So if it's $89.99, you owe me $24. Okay. All right, I think that's fair. And if it's $280, well, you owe me $175 or what would that be? $80.
I'm gonna have to start stripping when we do our live show on YouTube. Get them tips, make up for it.
Yeah, that's right.
Next question from Matt AMCZ is a two-parter. We love those, especially when we're 10 minutes deep into the show. Corey and Ira, will they be covering the away games in person? Maybe a nice long drive down for the Miami game with lots of snoring, or are you only covering games at Doak? Either way, I know we'll get the best coverage you can provide. So excited to see this team finally play under a staff that is teaching all the details. Bring it, Yellow Jackets. Let's go!
Hey, I like the excitement. I like the confidence, too. We don't know. The short answer to that is we don't know. Obviously not because Warchant is cheap or isn't going to send people. We don't know because we send people to everything. Home or away, Omaha,
Oklahoma
LA
City.
for basketball. We're sending folks. It's a matter of what the protocols will be for the press at these games. Well, we don't even know for sure that there will be press allowed at the Miami game. And if so, if you can't talk to the players in person, if they're all going to be Zoom interviews, then what's the point of being there? You could just, like the NBA, they have these Zoom calls after games with the reporters that aren't in the bubble. So I assume that would probably be the most likely for road games outside of Miami. But we don't know what the ACC protocols will be for media at all, and they might just not have media there and just arrange Zoom calls after the fact.
I think
right?
I think the prevailing belief is that home games probably 2. You got to figure out that bottle thing. Hold it like above your head when you open it.
No.
And
hey, look, and I just dropped the cap.
There you go.
How about you hear that?
Prevailing thought, I think, is 2 at the home game, and then probably only 1 when you're visiting another place. So who knows? But
also we don't know what it's gonna. Are there going to be press conferences?
Right.
Like, I've been to some of these stadiums, man, like Syracuse. They put you in a broom closet to do these interviews. Literally, Florida State's the number 1 team in the country. They have the most famous player in the country in Jameis Winston. And we're interviewing him in like a small hallway next to a broom closet. And there's 25 media members crammed into this. Well, some of these stadiums, I don't know if they're set up for press conferences that we socially distanced press conferences, unless we do them on the field. But again, we're 2 weeks away now, so you would think there'd be a plan in place coming up pretty quickly about what will happen, how the interviews will work after games. But for now, we don't know for sure.
I was talking to Ira about this, just the elevator. The elevator to get up to the press box, how much of a nightmare it is. Just wonder what that's going to like. How are you going to get on an elevator and be distant or whatever? I don't know the answer to that either. So let's go to the next question. Drill Sergeant Porter, let's see if we have better luck on this one. 15 minutes. I don't think we provided any insight to anybody. We love you all. Can't believe you guys stick on the entire time. It's amazing. Drill Sergeant Porter, walk up, it says. Walk up. Hip, 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 hip. With regards to our offense, everybody, relax. If we remember in 2018, it took us almost 5 quarters to score a touchdown against the not great Virginia Tech defense and Samford. And that team had Cam Akers. There is no way we start that poorly because we now have a coaching staff that gives us a sense that they know what they're doing. Love the show. As always, go Noles.
I can't really argue with any of that, can you?
Yeah, I just hope
I don't know if I know what he was trying to do with the 2018 comparison, but that's not exactly going to be reassuring to people to ever bring up that season when it comes to offense. I know the point was, look, it won't be as bad as this because that offense scored 1 touchdown total in its first 2 games against ACC opponents, scored 10 points. So it's going to be better than that. We still got 2 weeks to see how much improvement they can make.
I'm just concerned because we're kind of talking about the fact that the staff and then the defense is a billion times better than what it was last year. Well, then, what is a billion? Well, I shouldn't say billion, but much better than it was last year. So what does much better look like? Is much better really going 7-4? Is that much better than last year? Yeah, they went to the Cotton Bowl last year, Memphis, but Mike Norvell also went 8-5 in 2018. I mean, in the AAC. So it's not like this offensive staff. It's not like all these guys together are just some sort of unstoppable juggernaut, and Florida State's going to pick right back up where they left off in 2014. So I do there is some of that break tapping that we need to do. But at the same time, I still believe and stand by the fact that when you look at everything, it's going to be better. So why not believe that it's going to be significantly better? Just I guess we have to kind of walk that fine line. It's tough.
And what does that look like? what does significantly better mean? Like they could be 8-3, which is really what, a 2-game difference, 2-win difference from last year's team, but be significantly better. Like you look at it and go, oh my gosh, this is a completely different program now. Or, they could still lose those 3 games to Clemson, Florida, and Miami by a combined 100 points. Yep. And then you're like, well, what has this been? Like, I just think we have to wait and see. I know that's not kind of what you're supposed to do in August. It's supposed to be more about what you think will happen, but it's going to be a wait and see what this looks like. I can't foresee it looking anything like it did, especially in 2018 offensively. I would be stunned. I would be dumbfounded, bumfuzzled if it looked anything like 2018 did. And the same thing with the defense. If this defense looks anything like 2019, I would be just completely, my jaw would be on the floor. I just think it's going to be better than that. But I don't, you're talking about, they're not going to go from 6-7 to 11-0 or 10-1. I don't think. I think you're probably hoping for a 2 to 3 game improvement. But what if you beat Wake Forest 20-18 and you beat Louisville 31-30 and you beat Georgia Tech 26-24? I don't know that you can say, my God, this team is appreciably better.
Yeah.
Maybe they just made a few more plays than last year's team. I want to see the dramatic improvement.
Yeah.
Where I know it's probably asking too much in year one, but I want to see a competent coaching staff that beats Boise State. It gets up on Boise State by 21 points and wins by 28 points. And handles Wake Forest with ease and handles NC State with ease. That's what I want to see. That's when the steps will be made, no matter what the record is at the end of the year. I mean, 8-3, so it might be a 7-4 where you feel 100% more confident than you did at last year's 6-win team. Right. I think there's a chance that could happen.
Yeah, just listen, they're going to go 3 and out a few times probably this year. They're going to probably go 3 and out. They're probably going to have
throw an interception every now and again.
An opposing offense is probably going to march down the field in under 4 minutes and get a touchdown. So these things happen, and we don't talk about those. But overall,
well, it's the time of hope, man. We're selling hope.
Yeah, it's preseason.
Aslan, we're selling hope.
Yeah, man. P. Knoll 07. Wake up! Does the eligibility ruling give grad transfers another year if they play in 2020? Being able to secure Devontae Love-Taylor as a tackle for a couple of years would go a long way for helping fix our tackle issues. Dotson having 2 years in the secondary would surely be helpful from a veteran voice standpoint for the young guys back there. Yeah, man, it's everybody. Everybody, their eligibility doesn't count, so they can return. It's not going to count against the 85 number either, but these schools need to figure out a way how they're going to still pay for it. So even though you're still maxed out at 85, the guys that, they're not going to count towards that number, the ones that are sticking around for that additional year, if you will. But Florida State still has to find a way to foot that bill. I don't know their aspirations. I would think that maybe Mako Dotson, I think he'd be less likely to stick around for 2021. But that'd be nice to have Love Taylor, thinking that he's going to be an upgrade over Ryan Roberts, which I do think he is, and then another year wiser after that. That's a pretty reassuring thought. I don't know, though, how many of these grad transfer guys would want to, do the whole 6-year, 7-year experience, though.
I think I saw it was a tweet actually about that Memphis quarterback because he's a 6-year senior right now because he transferred. Didn't he start at Arizona State? He started somewhere and then transferred to Memphis. But he's been out of high school now. This is his 6th year out of high school. And all of them eligible. He's a 6-year senior. And next year he has a chance to be a 7th-year senior, which is incredible. He might start at quarterback for 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Everybody's, which would be nuts, but everybody's eligible to come back. Anybody that wants to, that plays this season, is eligible to come back and will retain their class status. So, we'll see what these guys are before we say for sure, absolutely, Devontae Love-Taylor, you want him back. We'll see how he does in the ACC, but it certainly doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt for depth purposes. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt for anything. It's good for the kids if they get another chance to play where they feel like it's a quote unquote real season, where they can compete for championships and play every conference is playing. I think it's probably the right move the NCAA made or the Power 5 conferences made. but it is going to be a logjam at some of these schools. We talked about how it affected baseball. Man, football is an even bigger animal, and you're going to have 100 scholarship players on some teams, I would imagine.
Let's go, man. The good old days. The good old days are back. Let's stack that roster.
I guess technically you could just not recruit as many guys.
Well, no, it's not
going to.
It's not going to count towards the 85. So
no, I'm saying, yeah, I know it won't. I'm saying if you're really worried about, if you're cash strapped and you're like, look, we can't afford to spend money on 9 more scholarship athletes. Yeah. So I know you got commitments from these 9. Take your worst 9 commitments and tell them to gray shirt.
Or maybe
that's not for Florida State. That's for like a UAB or something.
Yeah. Or maybe tell these guys, I don't know if year 6 is going to be any better than what the last 5 years have been. So why don't you just, go be a pharmaceutical salesman and actually make a lot of money instead of making us have to pay a bunch of money for you. Next question, Rich 5203. He's been around since 2015. He's only posted 48 times. Wake up!
That's 9.6 posts per year.
My man.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
First and foremost, thank you guys for everything you do. This show, podcast, website, everything involved is part of my daily routine, and when it's missing, the routine is out of whack. In other words,
right.
Gosh,
we do our best, man. We really do.
Glad we mean that much to you that we can't take a day off. But no, seriously, that's awesome. It's that's maybe the only thing I miss about working television is that you'd be out and somebody would be like, hey, man, love your stuff. It's all cool. Appreciate it, man. Basically what you encounter every single day in everything you do in life, Corey.
Well, yeah, but I don't encounter people much anymore.
Yeah, so.
But yeah, I remember those days, being in a public setting and people saying nice things. I miss that too, Aslan. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. We appreciate it, though. This is awesome. We love doing this show. It's great. We just talk about the Noles, and most of you like it. Question, do you think that what we see out of this team is closer to an average offense and above average defense rather than abysmal offense and elite defense? I feel like right now the fan base as a whole thinks the defense will be elite, and because of the offensive line and quarterback, the offense will be bad. I think it falls somewhere in the middle. I think we will see a big step up in play on offense and defense, but I do think we will see the pass culture rear its head from time to time with Norvell quickly weeding it out. Also, this was a team with a losing mentality that must learn how to win again. Corey Clark, School of College Sports. I will say if he can get this team to play with the effort and intensity that Memphis played with, they will be back to respectable sooner than later. I've watched every 2019 Memphis game, and Norvell can call plays and manage with what he has to work with. His Memphis team would have mopped the floor with 2019 FSU. Thank you again, Warchant, for everything you guys do. I truly appreciate it. Go Noles. Let's climb.
Nice. Well, it was a great post all around, wasn't it, Aslan?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, right. This is probably average offense going against an above-average defense rather than 85 Bears going up against, I don't know, Mitch Trubisky in the NFL. So.
Right. I agree. Yeah, I think that's much closer to the reality than elite versus abysmal. The offense will be decent. It'll be okay. It'll have some nice moments. But there will be some moments in those games where it just gets completely overwhelmed. I do see that happening just because of what's up front and maybe some limitations at other positions. But I think the defense will be good enough to keep you in almost every game. And that just has not been the case since 17. That 17 defense was good until, as it cared. I just think this defense can be that. I think this defense can be 17 good where it keeps you in games, and you hope your offense can do enough to win them at the end. And not give up a last-minute drive to Miami where you go man-to-man with Tavares McFadden for no reason at all.
I wonder if he realizes his whole life changed that day. Did it change? Who knows? Deep thoughts with Aslan on the podcast. Next question, Seminole life. Wake up, boys. 2 exclamation marks. Wake up, boys. Who do you feel will be our starting running back at season's end? Also, who are you penciling in for the starting linebacking core?
To me, the linebacker, core. I think the linebacking core is the more interesting question. Not to impugn the question or the questioner, But yeah, I think Corbin is who we lean on at running back. Although the way they talk about Toafili, he's going to be getting a lot of carries. Norvell was effusive in his praise the other day about how he's basically made at least one big play every practice, and is really kind of coming into his own. So I think Toafili, if I had to guess, just the way they talk, he might be number 2 on the depth chart right now. But as far as linebackers, yeah, I think Emmett Rice, and then Amari Gaynor.
Yeah.
And then who in the middle? And we don't know how they all, because we haven't gotten to see them.
Well, didn't Warner say he's working in the middle, an inside linebacker?
Yeah, and then you also have Dix and you have Lundy, and I think they're definitely going to want to get those guys playing time, a lot. So, I don't necessarily know that it's you just should run out the 3 most experienced guys, but they might be the best options right now. But I'm genuinely curious. I think I have a good handle for the most part on what most of the defense is going to look like, but the linebacking core, I do wonder what it's. I don't have any idea who's in the middle. I guess Emmett Rice is a favorite to be on one of the outside spots, but we don't know that for sure. And then Amari Gaynor too. We think he's the guy, but how does his skill set interact with like Janarius Robinson's? And do they? I know Robinson will drop off in pass coverage sometimes. He plays what I like to call the Fox position. And how does the Fox interact with whatever Amari Gaynor's position is? I assume he's not a stud. What would he be? What's a beefcake? The beefcake position. I think that's what Gaynor's playing. So I don't know is the answer to that question. Aslan, give a guess.
No, I think it's boring, but I'll say that. We've heard Kalen DeLoach has had a good day here and there. We've heard that Steven Dix looks really good for a true freshman. I just don't know. I think to probably upend even like a guy like Leonard Warner, who isn't amazing by any stretch, like you still have to be a really talented, dynamic guy to probably come in and dethrone guys that have been playing college football for the last 4 years. So I think Gaynor, Rice, and Warner, that sounds like at least you're starting 3 linebackers first series against Georgia Tech.
Even someone like Jaleel McCray, where does he fit into the mix?
Jaleel maybe could start in front of Leonard. He could maybe be your starting in middle.
Who knows? Who knows? We're all going to find out in 15 days, folks. 15. Who's a Philip Riley away, a Chuko Jinajay. We're a Chuko Jinajay.
That's right.
Away from seeing who's going to be that starting linebacking core.
Mario Edwards, senior and junior.
That's right. That probably would have been a better 15.
Bimini bound. Aslan, you ask us, and I did at the first top thread of this post. You ask us who's drunk on optimism and who's just bracing for a choppy sea ahead. Well, I'm just drunk and bracing for choppy seas ahead. Look at Bimini bound, doing both things. We were supposed to hang out with him. Supposed to do like a booster stop thing in Southwest Florida that they do, like a fishing tournament. We were going to be his partners, Corey. We're going to go down there, do some deep sea fishing. And then
again, there's no chance I'm going to be on that boat.
Oh, come on.
I would just throw up on everyone.
No, you wouldn't. Little dinghies, yeah, but not like a big old boat. You think Bimini bounds out there in a John boat in the deep seas? Come on, man.
I don't know. He might be 4 miles off the coast.
He's probably
hauling in marlins. I don't know.
I think he's got snook maybe. I can't identify. I don't know anything about fish. I don't live that salt life, although I lived in Florida my whole life. I don't know. Maybe cobia he's got. I don't know.
Oh, okay. A little cobia action. Nice.
Yeah. Props to Aslan and Corey for weathering this offseason. Also, prayers sent for the people of Texas and Louisiana for this devastating storm that is about to impact them. He posted this 9:14 on Wednesday evening. 2020 needs to end. Amen, brother. Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
That's good. He's optimistic and he's also bracing for potential choppy water, which is probably the way you should head into these things.
Cautious optimism is what we're hoping for.
That's
that's the outlook you have to have. It's just cautious optimism.
Yeah. Sabaxley 1212. Wake up, gentlemen. Thank you for investing so much time and energy to bring the insight and information to the fans. From video chats to daily podcasts to outstanding articles, I am just one of the many that say thank you, and we appreciate your effort and hard work. We do get paid, guys, but thank you.
Hey, just take the compliment.
I can't. It feels so weird. It's really flattering, though. I do appreciate it.
It is our honor.
It is.
And that's not being sarcastic. I know it sounded like it was. That's just my normal tone of voice. It's our honor, and we really do appreciate you writing that. That means a lot.
Yeah. I'm thinking we should maybe start when I film these Zoom interviews with the coaches and players. I pin whoever's speaking from Florida State's end. I'm thinking maybe we should just let it ride so everybody can see you or Gene or Ira in their natural habitat asking questions and carrying the day in those interviews. So you would be able to understand.
Well,
not
really me though, right?
No.
Because you just see, my screen is dark, and I'm doing. I don't ask a question. I just type.
I just want to see like those fingers.
It's crazy. I put on a show. I should get Brady to record it one day and think of all that. It would go viral. Seeing how fast I type.
Meanwhile, the question: I have spent the last 3 years defending the coaching staffs, plural, and hoping that the struggles in losing was an anomaly rather than the reality. I had hope in 2017 coming off a 10-win season. I had hope in 2018 with a new coach and the idea of making football fun again. I had hope last year with the new offensive coaches. Yet here we are, 18 and 20 in that span. So this year I find myself getting excited and hoping that the losing will stop. I love what Mike Norvell and his staff are saying, and I truly believe that he will get things right. But I believed Willie Taggart was going to do the same in 2018 and 2019. We liked what Willie was saying, and we believed that with his ability to recruit, we were headed to another dynasty. So why, I ask, should we believe in this coaching staff as opposed to the last one? Love you guys. Keep grinding. Go Noles. Ooh, bring it, Sabaxley. Let's go.
Yeah, fair questions. My answer would be we did like what Willie said, especially at the beginning. But it was also pretty evident early on, if you listen to this show, especially one of the hosts, that the practice habits that were being established weren't exactly up to the Florida State standard, let's say. So that's number one. The practices are completely different. And I just, even more than, and I am a believer in Norvell because I do think he has a vision. He has a way that he wants to run a program, and it's worked to the point he got a team to the Cotton Bowl. So I do believe in his vision, but I really believe in the coaching staff. I just think the upgrade in position coaching in development has gone up almost incalculably. Can you say that?
You had it right the first time. Incalculably.
I don't know. I felt like I flubbed that one too. It's incalculable.
There you go.
How much that has gone up with these two coaching staffs, in my opinion. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But that's why I think you can be a little more gung ho about this offense and be believing in it. Again, these are guys that, I know Dillingham is a quote unquote Norvell guy. Well, he got hired by, Auburn. Marv was at Mississippi State.
Yeah.
These are Chris Thompson's been an interim head coach. These are guys that have been wanted. These are up and coming coaches. These aren't guys that attach to one coach. I don't know, like a barnacle. These guys made it on their own. Some of them, for sure.
This ain't entourage. This ain't entourage, man. This ain't Turtle.
Well, yeah. There were too many guys in Willie's staff, especially, it's easy to say this in hindsight, but that's what we're using right now. There were too many guys in Willie's staff that only had that job at a major school because they knew Willie Taggart. No one else was seemingly beating down their door, offering them jobs. Yeah. I don't think you can say the same thing about Mike Norvell's staff. These guys are all pros. Some of them are up-and-comers. Some of them are going to be head coaches one day. It's a really good staff, man. I believe in the staff. Maybe even more than the Norvell versus Taggart discussion. I just believe that the coaching staff is, as a whole, number one, it's full. You got 10 assistants, that helps. But I just think it's a wide disparity between this coaching staff and the last coaching staff. But we'll see. We'll see how it translates onto the field. It's easy to say that in August.
Oh gosh. How is that allowed? How is that allowed? How are you allowed to torpedo the entire program's winning history and then we'll go man shorthanded? We're fine. How is that allowed? How is that? David Coburn, I love you. How do you allow that to happen? What was that
Well,
conversation like?
Did he, though? Don't you think that was at least part of the thought process after the Miami game? Like, all of it was in play when you fire a guy after 21 games.
Yeah.
So it came to bear, but it was maybe a little too late, and it should have been dealt with before it got to that point, obviously. But we're not here to talk about the Willie Taggart years.
Well, that's what the question was. I mean, literally.
I know.
Literally. Although there's this one guy on YouTube, which uses his real name, so I feel I'm not going to use his whole name, but just constantly, anytime I mentioned, like, he mentioned something about Chuba and the quarterbacks, and he's like, I'm sure you two will find a way to blame this on Willie. Like, what? What are you talking about? Buckle up, speaking of what are you talking about. We have a mutual friend who used to work in Florida State media. He used to actually be on Seminole Headlines, I think, before you usurped the seat from him. But our guy,
okay.
What's that?
Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah, so we have a friend, Corey and I. You probably know, a lot of you know him. He had a son who apparently I think had a severe brain sort of issue or disease or something. And
tumor.
Yeah. And his son had to go get numerous sort of opinions. They got some real dire, some real grim opinions from medical experts telling them that, like, giving them timetables on how long their kid was going to live. Well, they went and got a couple more opinions, and they had get surgery, and it went successfully. And I think the kid's was valedictorian or something. Lamar's son's killing it, man, right?
He was valedictorian.
Yeah, amazing story. Like, Willie came to Florida State. Think of it like I'm trying to think of this doctor metaphor I'm trying to use. Like, you sat down in front of him, he examined you, and then he made his diagnosis, and then he made his treatment plan. His diagnosis, and he said it to us. He said, I think, before I even got to Warchant, like on day one on his introductory press conference, he told Andrea Adelson with ESPN.com when they did this whole embedded thing with him getting ready. His thing was looking at these guys and noticing that they weren't having fun. Like, he saw a lot of hurt in the locker room. These guys were mad that Jimbo left them. He saw a lot of guys that just were hurt. So his solution, the way he thought, that when he was looking at this whole program holistically, was, let me fix these kids. Let's establish just a culture of just, good vibes, good positive thinking. We got each other's back. Let's have fun, man. Let's remember what we did. Let's have fun. This game is simple, man. Let's just go out there and do our thing, and we're going to be fine. That wasn't probably the right thing to do. Meanwhile, the guy that's in charge now, what the motto is work. That's what it says on the shirt. There's nothing cool about work. Hey, wake up. It's time to work. Nobody wants to hear that. That sucks. I want to keep sleeping. I want it to be easy. Work. That's what they're instilling in these kids. That's the entire motto. It's the entire credo of what they're trying to do, to use the crux of this whole turnaround. So it's completely different. I mean, it's quite literally completely different than the diagnosis and treatment that Taggart wanted to put down. And listen, man, it doesn't mean that you're a bad doctor because you messed up on one diagnosis. Unfortunately, if you're a Florida State fan, it is, because there's your team that he ruined. But I think, Taggart's probably going to do good at FAU. He'll probably bounce back. I think that was one of the questions we had after he got fired was, will he ever be a Division I coach again, like major Power 5? And I'm like, I don't think so. No way. But, that was probably quite short-sighted. I'm sure if he gets a good role and going on down at FAU, he'll figure it out. But, yeah, this staff, this coach, the culture, which I hate using that word, is completely different. And it's kind of what you need to have at the top levels of this game. Man, Ohio State, Urban Meyer isn't like, hey, let's have fun. Ryan Day wasn't like, okay, Urban had this thing rolling. You know what, man? Let's have fun. Let's have fun, everybody. Dabo's not talking about let's have fun. You can have fun after you win. You can dance in the locker room after you win. Not between period 13 and 14 of your first practice. Next question. Ira Brofell. Wake up. Okay. Corey, thanks for letting me go there. That's good. That's you being a good parent. Just kind of letting Brady's having a bad day and he just wants to go into a temper tantrum. You're like, all right, just let him do it. Let him bleed out.
And I feel like that's what all the listeners understood I was doing right there. Right. So I think we're all on the same wavelength. Just let him get it out of his system. He'll go take a nap as soon as he's done with this.
Sometimes you're a little too condescending, Corey. Gentlemen, it's been almost a week and we haven't received an Ira Henry update. Please advise. I'm kidding, he says. I'm kidding. It's Ira Brofell. He's kidding. With the move of Isaiah, I don't know. We haven't. Maybe we'll figure it out. We'll ask about Ira Henry after we ask about the jersey combination colors and stuff like that.
There you go. Nice.
Isaiah Bolden to wide receiver. I have two mostly blind betting lines pertaining to him. I'd like to get your take. I mostly just want to stir up some conversation regarding his potential. Norvell seemed giddy in his interview when asked about the switch. Over under 13.5 catches for Isaiah Bolden.
Under, yeah, that was my initial thought was under. It's hard in year one, especially 2 weeks into camp or 3 weeks into camp. Then all of a sudden, that would mean what? He's like the fifth wide receiver on the team if he's got 13 catches. I mean, it might happen if injuries or illnesses come up, but my initial instinct is under.
Yeah. Who has more all-purpose yards in 2020? Isaiah Bolden or Warren Thompson? Ooh.
I'm just the way that Norvell and Dugans have talked about Thompson. I think he's a part of the plans. Yeah. I just do. And if he's a part of the plans, if he's in uniform, standing on your sideline, and you're about to go out for the first, on a first down play, you want the 6'5" guy that can move like he's 5'8" out there. And so I do think I think all-purpose yards. I'm going to give that to Warren Thompson. Although Bolden will be returning kicks too, maybe.
Yeah.
So you got to throw that in there. So it might be closer than we initially think, but I still go with Warren Thompson.
Okay, I agree. I like that. I appreciate all you guys do. P.S. Happy belated birthday to the smoothest and swollest of podcast hosts, Mr. Aslan Hajavandi. Well, thank you.
Oh, there you go. That was sweet.
I'm not the swollest nor the smoothest, but I do appreciate that's print the legend. Print the legend.
Yeah, that's right.
SPM Jab 1. Ooh, I like that. Cool name. They've been around since 2016, August 12th. Happy 4-year anniversary. Belated. 53 posts. Do the math, Corey. Go.
What is that? That's like about 13.25 per year.
Does Stephanie realize what she's got? I mean, obviously the other one did it, but I mean, come on.
And what's weird about it is I was like a math whiz in like elementary school.
Ooh,
I remember we had this multiplication game where you go around our teacher would show flashcards and it'd be like 8 times 9 and you'd have to say the answer before the kid next to you said the answer. And then you go to the next kid. And I literally went around my room 3 times beating everybody at multiplication. So much so that my teacher went to show me off to a 4th grade class, which I was not a fan of. No 3rd grader wants to go into the big bad 4th graders classroom so I can challenge them to multiplication table. So I intentionally lost pretty early on there so we could leave. But legitimately, I was like a math whiz in STAR from age 8 to age 11. And then once we got into like geometry and algebra, nope, just didn't take. Like I had to study my butt off in college to get a B in algebra, like really study, like actual go to the library by myself for hours at a time and study just to get a B. So, but yeah, I can multiply and add pretty fast. That didn't do me a whole lot of good after, like age 11.
I was doing good until fractions came along. Fractions totally
were a bear. Wasn't a huge fan of long division and remainders.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a bear. And you'll find this out soon enough, Adlon, but all the things you learned in school, don't worry about trying to retain it to teach to your kids because no, they don't do it that way.
Awesome.
I'm like, what do you mean? What is this? You just do – no. That's not how we taught it. We add all these zeros. I'm like, what? Well, then good luck, man. I can't help you. This is how I do it. I know that 4 goes into 125 times. I just know it.
Yeah.
So anyway.
And also the whole negative times negative equals positive. How's that
an absolute zero? I mean, what are we doing?
Seriously.
It's just – I feel like it was nerds in the 16 and 1700s that were just trying to entertain themselves. And now we just follow it as law. Oh, of course, that's absolute zero. Oh, well, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Absolute scam. All right, SPM Jab 1 has an idea. Sorry for the slight headline crossover, but you've discussed it here too. Corey is looking for where he should get his toupee, and he was wondering what Ira's family should crochet him as a gift. Crocheted toupee.
Oh yeah, like just like a quilt on my head.
Who?
No, that's not a bad idea. I don't trust Kim to give me something that would. I think she'd try to make it more of a joke than it already would be. Like it would be pink fabric, or pink and yellow. So no, I'm going to stick with the regular idea for the toupee. We're thinking man bun.
Okay.
And maybe a redheaded man bun, but definitely a man bun of some sort.
So Kim, she's a crocheter? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, you didn't listen to that headlines. Yeah.
Okay.
Because we do Skype calls to record headlines now, and Jeff just in the middle of one of Ira was answering something, just like, man, I got to hold up. What is all that yarn behind you? Because you see it in like a cabinet behind it. You see it when we do our live shows. Yeah. It's just a whole cabinet of yarn. So then that's how we got on the topic of how she crochets all the time, like all the time. And it's different than knitting, much different than like knitting and stitching. I didn't realize that, but crocheters.
It's more talent to crochet.
Yeah. I think crocheters take umbrage if you call them knitters.
Absolutely.
So, because I guess that's a lot simpler. The simple folks knit, and then the heavy duty folks crochet.
It's like tennis versus badminton, Same sort of thing, but different. Serious question. I know there has been discussion ad nauseum over the years of people who left early only to fail miserably. Who do you recall that came back and it was a mistake? I can't remember his name, but this is actually the one he came to my mind earlier today. I don't even know why. I didn't read his question beforehand. I can't remember his name, but there was, I believe, a defensive end in the lost decade who was a projected second-round pick who came back for his senior year and tore his ACL pretty early on and went much later as a result. Thoughts? Yeah. Brandon Jenkins.
He might be talking about Brandon Jenkins.
Yeah. I don't know why I thought of him the other day. I did, though.
He was a part of the decent decade too. But yeah, it wasn't he tore up his foot. It was the Liz Frank thing. And he missed all that season, then never really got into good shape to be an NFL contributor. So yeah, that's a good one. He probably cost himself a couple $100,000. Other than that, can you think of anybody
that came back? No. Levante Taylor and Tavares McFadden were projected first-round picks, but that was going into their draft-eligible year.
Yeah, but were they really, though? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, Brandon Jenkins was a legitimate player year, his big year, and then he came back and was never the same because of the injury. We say that Levante Taylor and Tavares McFadden, but maybe by one guy with a mock draft on the internet. I think once you get scouted, you are who you are. I don't know how many guys actually lose stock they said that about Leinart. Like Leinart cost himself all this money because he went back after winning the Heisman and then was the 10th pick in the draft or whatever it was. And it's like, well, you don't have any idea. Just because Mel Kiper has him as number one on his board doesn't mean after 4 months of scouting, like microscopic scouting, that he was still going to be the number one pick in the draft. He didn't necessarily cost himself anything by going back. He was what he was. And so I think that's normally what it is. I think people that come back and they say, oh, they lost themselves money. No, they just got drafted where they almost always were going to get drafted. There was nothing they could have done because once you take a microscope to these guys and really hash out what you like and what you don't like, not much changes between your 21st year on Earth and your 22nd year on Earth. You kind of are what you are.
Well, I'm saying
we'll see. I mean, Marvin Wilson and Tamarian Terry might. I guess there's a chance they could both work themselves up very high with good years this year.
Well, I mean, going into 18, so he couldn't have left after 17, but going into 18, Taylor was supposedly a first-round pick if he would have, performed at what they thought after the 18 season was over. But obviously he got hurt, played terribly, came back last year and, didn't do anything. So, but he couldn't have left. That's the whole thing. He could not have left. He didn't have the option to leave. I can't think of one, man, because who's come back? I mean, Tamorian and Marvin coming back. I guess DeMarcus Walker's up there, but DeMarcus didn't hurt himself. He helped himself for sure. I don't even know how legitimate it really was of thinking that he was going to leave after 15. I can't think of anybody.
So it's hard. It's hard to say. I just think more often than not, you typically get drafted where you were going to get drafted anyway. And this isn't the right example, but like Devontae Freeman, he could have come back for a senior year in 14. I still think he's drafted where he's drafted because of his size issues, his size concerns. He could have run for 2,100 yards. We've seen it. Guys will run for 1,800, 1,900 yards in college and then be like the 19th running back taken. are drafted somewhere in the 5th round. I just, as productive as DeMonte Freeman could have been in 14, I don't think they care that much about the production. They care about how they project you at that level. And I think always that somebody like Levante Taylor, once they really broke him down, especially whatever happened after 17, because he was good in 17. Maybe that's because everybody was throwing to McFadden's side. It just, I think they were going to break him down the way they broke him down, and he was going to have a hard time being a high draft pick.
I'm sure somebody's yelling at their monitor.
Yeah, there's probably 1,000 examples that we're not thinking of right now. I just can't think of one off the top of my head, but I'm gonna keep trying.
In that vein, remember we were talking about maybe who had the best played injured effort in Florida State history. Scott Parker tweeted at us, greatest injury sickness game, Timmy Jernigan flu game, national title game. Did he have the flu? I know he was cramping up, but I don't know if that was bad cardio or if it was bad health.
I just think there was a lot of plays, and it was that was a guy that had, how many times had Timmy Jernigan even been on a football field in the 4th quarter that year?
Right. And I shouldn't say bad cardio.
His pads were off.
Yeah. Timmy, you got a good gas tank. I'm not hating on you.
Slow down with that. Timmy, I did not just know that was Aslan that said that. Corey Clark did not say that. Corey Clark is one of your biggest fans, so please don't hold that against Corey Clark. I don't know that. Did it ever come out that it was the flu? I think I think it was just cramps because it was a pretty hot night. It was a very intense game, and he was out there for probably 40% more game time than he had been all season. But he was awesome. He was really good.
He's the man. Get down black. What's up, Ashman and Sea Dog? Wake up! Mm-hmm. Just got 2 show recommendations for you guys, and he specialized them. Aslan, Ash, as he calls me. I don't know why. Come on, Leroy. Figure it out, man. On cable.
Well, your initials, right?
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. I don't have a middle name. We don't do middle names in the old country.
Right.
You know, it's crazy.
Just the first 2 letters of your first name and then your last initial. Come on.
You know, it's weird. Like, obviously, Iran is not very progressive when it comes to female role in society.
Right.
I guess
obviously, right.
But we don't in the old country. The woman doesn't take her husband's name. She still keeps her maiden name. Isn't that kind of weird? I've always thought about that.
That is weird.
You know,
that is weird.
Maybe it's just even more patriarchal than taking your husband's name because it's the father. Like, the father's name will live on no matter what. Even if you're a girl, like, damn it, my name will live. Because everyone was always like, oh, your parents are divorced? I'm like, nah, my mom just kept her maiden name. Like, why? I don't know. We're not American. Get off my back. I'm kidding. We're American. They're naturalized, my mom and dad. They took the oath. The FBI listens to our phone calls to make sure that we're not doing anything bad.
Were you there, by the way, when they took their oath?
I don't think so. No, I was in school. Like, I was probably in literally
because
middle school.
I've been to one. My brother-in-law is British. He served in the British military, and he he took the oath. He got naturalized 3 or 4 years ago. And I have many friends up here. I mean, where I grew up on Jimmy Carter, it was a lot of second-generation families or first-generation families that I grew up with. But going to one of those things is really, really. I would recommend it to everyone.
Yeah.
Not now, because of what's going on in the world with the pandemic, but when it opens back up again, it's really emotional. To see how happy these people are to become Americans is really cool. It's a really neat thing, and we should it should be a bucket list item for everyone to go see that. Anyway, I'm off my soapbox. Go for it, Aslan. Let's hear what our TV recommendations are.
People all around the world, they're coming to America.
You know why he wrote that song, right? Because his intense hatred of immigrants. Did you ever see that Will Ferrell when Will Ferrell used to do him on Saturday Night Live?
No.
It's a really funny skit. He did Neil Diamond's Storytellers. It's like, I wrote this next song because of my intense hatred for immigrants.
Oh, he's telling me that on cable I should watch Blacklist and the 100. Sea Dog, I Got You, Queen of the South, and Iron Fist on Netflix. Definitely should check those out.
Okay, I'll look those up.
Yeah,
I have not. I'd be honest with you, I don't think I've heard of them, but I will check them out and see if they tickle my fancy.
Also,
we're always looking for recommendations, folks.
yeah. Ted Master 82 on YouTube mentioned that he watched The Boys, that particular episode you referenced. That was nasty. LOL. Did you see the airplane episode on The Boys? That was sick. I
just saw it last night. That is look. I made that recommendation after only watching 2 episodes. When you hear superheroes, you think, oh, it's kind of kid-like and maybe it's kid-friendly. No, it's straight up R. It's got some situations and scenarios where kids shouldn't be watching, and it's very adult. But I like it a lot. It's got some really grotesque moments, but I like it a lot. I think it's really well written and well done. I'm more of a fan now than I was when I mentioned it the other day.
Gosh, you have this dark underbelly.
It is very
people
dark.
Don't know about. Okay, yeah. Bourbonol. Bourbon. OLE. Big fan of bourbon. Gentlemen, my question this week: if you had to plan a team building trip for the Warchant staff, where would you go?
Ooh.
Oh, man. I want to do
probably
Ropes
Mons
Coast.
Venus, I guess.
What's that?
Probably Mons in Tampa.
Okay.
I don't know exactly. I mean, paintball?
No.
You think Ira? I'm trying to think of anything Ira would want to do.
I wouldn't do Homeward Bound. I would do Homeward Bound. Like where we go into the wilderness.
There's no chance. Yeah, it's for like a week.
Yeah, that's how you build camaraderie. That's how you build a team.
What if news breaks? What if a 4-star lineman commits, and we can't get any cell service because we're in some crevice in some mountain somewhere?
If a 4-star commits and Warchant's not able to disseminate it, does it really happen?
That's a good. It's like a tree in a forest. That's a good point. Exactly. And we'll be the peyote.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't have to do Joshua Tree. We don't have to go like off the reservation and do that all, but just Homeward Bound. Let's go on the wilderness, or we could just go to Bainbridge and we go hang out on a plantation. We can do that.
My initial thought for real was like Six Flags.
What kind of team building?
Just get on roller coasters.
I hate roller coasters. Are you a roller coaster guy?
I am to an extent. Like it's harder now as an adult. That's a weird thing. You're gonna. Well, you don't like them anyway. Yeah. But younger people listen to this that probably love roller coasters. There's something about our composition, our institution as we get older, where like you can do like 2 or 3 in a row, and then you got to sit down. Like you're dizzy, and it really screws with you. Like I took Brady and his friends a couple years ago, and I got this pass. It was like a fast pass, but even faster, where you basically avoid all the lines. And so you could ride because the lines were ridiculous. So I'm like, I'm going to spend money because I'm not going to stay in the line for 2.5 hours to go upside down 3 times. So I got these fast pass type things, and literally you'd go from one roller coaster to another, to another, to another. You do like, 11 in an hour if you wanted to. And by number 6, I'm like, Brady, I got to sit down, man. I can't do this anymore. And it's not so much like I feel like I'm going to throw up. I have a hard time walking. Like my equilibrium's off. So that's something you have to look forward to, kids, is the roller coasters. When you get older, they really screw with you as an adult. But Aslan, you don't care because you don't like him anyway because you're a big baby. And I think Ira's a big baby too and doesn't like him.
Guilty. I hate him. But one time, I know I'm not going to, I think I might have already mentioned it. Got like into a fight with my brother in public over it. It was terrible. My poor father. Okay. That's a team building part of the question. I say Homeward Bound. Corey wants to have fun. He's part of the Taggart tree, obviously. By the way, one of my favorite Renegade Express traditions that faded away was recognizing what famous people are from your hometown. I think we need to bring that back. I realize I missed my golden opportunity last week with my Melbourne pronunciation post, so I'll throw some out this week. Boston College NFL legend Doug Flutie. Doug Flutie's from Melbourne? No, he's not.
Is that true?
I don't know. I'm going to believe Bourbonol, but come on. Bourbonol. Prince Fielder. I know Prince Fielder. Okay. Supermodel smoke show Kate Upton.
Yeah.
Meow. Saturday Night Live legend Daryl Hammond and Jim Morrison of The Doors. And bonus, J. Sean Corbin. Clearly, we are a powerhouse of well-rounded talents. Thanks. Have a great week.
That's a good run. That's a good group right there. If all that's true, which we have no reason to think that it isn't, that's an incredible group.
I can't believe Doug Flutie. Douglas Richard Flutie. What does Wikipedia say about him? He was born in Manchester, Maryland. His family moved to Melbourne Beach when he was 6. He
How
led
about
Hoover.
that?
Look at that. He led Hoover Junior High football team to 2 Brevard County championships. After the dramatic slowdown of the space program in the mid-'70s, the Flutie family moved again, this time to Natick, Massachusetts. Yes, I thought he was Northeastern through and through. But that counts. Yeah, you guys can claim him. He won a couple junior high school natties.
Yeah, and those are important years. Those are important growth years. It's not like he was there from like age 1 to 3.
Yeah.
He remembers. If you can remember it and you got friends that you played with, like Flutie does from Melbourne, then yeah, you can claim that. Absolutely.
All right, we made it, Corey. Last one.
That's
Seminole
it?
Mike.
Oh.
The last one here coming up. Seminole Mike won, but it's not the least, even though it's the last. I'm going to start from the bottom and then move my way up on his question. Most important question. I was finally on the road for about a week. I hit up Zaxby's several times, Georgia. Had the sensational salad a couple of times and one of Corey's favorites, the Cobb. With the Cobb, they gave me ketchup. Ketchup? Texas toast? Is that a thing? That's crazy. Did they give you ketchup when you get your Cobb?
No, I've never gotten ketchup with my salad before. That might have just been an overeager server. Or maybe they thought you said ketchup, but no, please don't dip your Texas toast in ketchup. It is way too good to be throwing ketchup on it.
Some people were sticking up, I think, for dipping their fingers in ketchup as opposed to the Zax sauce, which I'm not gonna call you a heretic or shame you. I wouldn't do that, but I used to do that before I found out that Zax sauce.
You just said, did you say dip your fingers in?
Well, the chicken fingers, not your actual human.
Oh, I thought you meant your actual fingers.
Not your phalanges. Not your phalanges.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. And no, I just think the chicken's too good for the ketchup. Ketchup just dominates the taste too much. And I'll throw a little Zax sauce on there sometimes. Like I'll dip it in there occasionally, but a lot of times I'll just eat the fingers for the way they are because they're good.
They're seasoned just right.
Yep.
Okay, what's up, boys? Ready to see the improvement on the field. I'm hoping, like everyone else, we have that opportunity. What do you think the atmosphere in the stadium will be like? I have an employee who's a huge Pitt fan. We've been waiting for years for this game so I could bring him to Doak and let him watch FSU whoop on his team in our incredible environment. Well, I think I've decided against it. While it would be nice to see the team play in Doak, I just can't get past him missing out on the full stadium of Seminole bliss and spectacle. Yeah, man, this is the uncomfortable part.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just say, right, like, look, imagine this, but 80% more. If you're able to get a ticket, like, obviously it's not going to be anywhere close to what we're used to, what we're accustomed to for any of these venues. So we don't know. It's going to be unlike anything we've ever seen or covered before. But it ain't going to be great. Atmosphere-wise, I mean.
Is there anywhere that the quintessential game of that program, that stadium, that fan base is an afternoon game? Because I feel like, we always talk about like Doak Doak at dark, Doak under the lights, like Oklahoma 2010. I mean, that was the Cat's pajama, or 11. Was it 11? It was 11. Yeah, 10 was in Norman. 11, that was, even though they lost, I'm telling you, people that were there, they realized this. Man, when Clint Trickett hit Rashad Green, that was amazing. That whole night was amazing because it was we're back. Like we're finally back. We're ready to take our place back on the throne. It was an absolutely amazing day. The entire day that night, that was amazing. It was a high watermark for me of watching a game in Doak. Seriously, it was, even though we lost. And everyone talks
I like how you phrased it as Clint Trickett hit Rashad Green. I like to think of it as Clint Trickett just threw it straight up in the air to 2 defenders, and Rashad Green showed everybody, oh yeah, I'm a badass.
Okay.
Even as a freshman, it's my 3rd game ever in college. I'm going to go score a touchdown against the #1 team in the country. But hey, it still comes out as a TD pass on the old box score. Yeah. That was great, man. You're not going to have that was an incredible environment. You're not going to have anything like that at Doak. And as far as afternoon games, Navy Army's always afternoon, right?
That's right. Yeah.
That's about it. I think, I don't know. Like I know Notre Dame, at least they might have lights now, but I know they used to have to bring in, if they were going to have a night game, would have to bring in temporary lights. because they always like to play in the afternoon. So, Notre Dame, and I guess that's it. Everybody else, the big ones are at night now. Not back in the 90s. If it was number 1 versus 2 back in the 90s, let's play at noon so you can have to start tailgating at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah. I think maybe the horseshoe.
Wasn't a big fan of that.
Maybe Ohio State embraces those dreary 11 a.m. kickoffs against Michigan.
Yeah, they don't have a ton of night games, do they?
No.
The Big Ten in general. The Big Ten, just get it over with. I think that's their motto going into most Saturdays. Let's get this over with. It's Purdue versus, Minnesota. Let's go ahead and get this done so it can be done by 2:30 and we get on to some real football.
You know what no one's talked about, and I guess everyone's going to roll their eyes and be like, who cares, Aslan? Florida, Georgia is not going to be in Jacksonville this year, I assume, right? I haven't heard anything about that. I mean,
I don't know. Is it not? I guess it wouldn't be. I don't know. I should probably know that, but I don't. But why would it be? This would be a time you just go to a campus, right?
I mean, I'm trying to think here. I'm trying to find an answer to this. Although
I'm getting a drink.
Florida,
and
Georgia
I'm about
game.
To get on the road.
Florida game, Georgia will not move to campus site this year, says the TV station in Jacksonville. Look at that. All right.
Well, there you go.
Good for you guys. I hope you both lose somehow if that's physically possible.
Hey, come on, man.
That's
Don't
right.
be like
Sorry.
that. You're rooting against. You're not rooting.
No, you're wrong.
Against Georgia in that game.
No, you're wrong. I was wrong. I was completely wrong. I hope Georgia absolutely decimates Florida.
Right.
Decimates.
Yeah, every
you.
year that's what you're hoping for.
I hope they sneeze all over you and you can't feel the team for the rest of the year, Florida. Suck it.
Well, I don't know about that. That might have been a little too much.
Okay. All right, we're done. Fantastic job by you as always, Corey. Not sure if we're going to do a happy hour on Friday, but the team will be back practicing Friday, so Corey will be burning up the keyboard, giving us the updates, the live blow-by-blow, play-by-play, if you will, from Mike Norvell and his staff. And we'll be, by the time when we rendezvous back again, we're going to be under 2 weeks. We're going to be less than 14 days.
Can't wait. I can't believe we're here. We're only 2 weeks away, buddy.
Let's do it. All right, have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Finally, an answer to the age-old question, which comes first, the chicken or the egg roll? Easy. Just eat whichever one's closest. The Sensation Salad and Filet Sandwich Meal are back at Zaxby's. Both feature our famous hand-breaded chicken, crispy wontons, Asian slaw, and citrus vinaigrette. And each comes with its very own egg roll for a limited time only at Zaxby's. Order ahead drive-thru or get it delivered.